Fantion's attack struck Xin with full force, while Dark Knight Ghost Immortal was momentarily held off by Zhu Jin and his team, unable to lend a hand. With a sudden crash, the beam of Fantion's attack dissipated, and the once proud Xin now fell limply from midair, descending to the ground like a lifeless dog. A closer look revealed that his left arm was completely gone. His eyes burned with fury and agony, his body suffused with a bloody hue, clearly showing the severity of his wounds. Thud. Xin hit the ground hard, sending up a cloud of dust. He lay there barely breathing, hanging on to life by a thread. His left arm had been obliterated by Fantion's recent strike. If not for Fantion's consideration of the Xuanling royal family and the incense pavilion, Xin would likely have perished entirely under that blow. Damn it! How could someone as cautious as Xin make so many mistakes? The Dragon Devourer Legion and Dong Xian. These are the two most formidable forces right now. How could they suddenly stop following Xin's commands? Moreover, my collaboration was with Xin alone. Now that he's injured, his status within the Xuanling royal family will likely plummet. Dark Knight Ghost Immortal's mind briefly wandered to a mysterious figure who frequently visited the 7th level of the Underground Palace, National Advisor Xuan Xin. However, with Xin gravely injured, these concerns paled in importance. Better retreat for now. True to his quick-witted nature, Dark Knight Ghost Immortal made a swift decision upon seeing Xin's condition. Without further hesitation, he transformed into a wisp of black smoke, the air rippling eerily before him as he vanished into the void of the Underground Palace's 7th level. Trying to escape? Zhu Jin, seeing this, attempted to summon his power to intercept Dark Knight Ghost Immortal, but the opponent's formidable strength allowed for a swift escape. Dark Knight Ghost Immortal, you scoundrel! And you, Fantion! Xin endured the searing pain of his arm, which had been reduced to dust under Fantion's attack, his body severely battered. Thump, thump, thump. Xiao Yin could feel the blood demon Golden Qi, usually so still, suddenly raging within him. He couldn't figure out why, but surrounded by the powerful warriors of Incense Pavilion, he dared not let it show. Swiftly, he pressed a finger against his chest, forcibly suppressing the energy. Ha! Ha! Even this simple act drained a considerable amount of his force of life, leaving him breathless. Don't worry. Seeing the strain on Xiao Yan's face, Mu Yingying smiled lightly. Though she was oblivious to the sudden, dark aura that had surged from him, her trust in him remained unwavering. This statue, it really is the founder of the Xuanling royal family, said Fantion thoughtfully. But after being sealed for so long by Medusa's petrifying eye, who knows if he's even alive? Fantion's gaze moved to a peculiar, slightly sunken area of space above the statue, heavy and oppressive. Master, based on our investigation, Yin Qi's aura should be right here, Elder Zhu Jin stated. Yes, there is something unusual about this place. No wonder you couldn't break through this barrier, Fantion replied with a sudden chuckle. Master, if even you're at a loss, what are we supposed to do? Someone asked, glancing nervously at the silver statue looming above, clearly unsettled by the impassable void that even Fantion couldn't breach. If I can't break it, that doesn't mean no one can. Fantion's gaze shifted downward, focusing on a rocky outcrop in the dry riverbed. Isn't that right, Xiao Yin of the Human Hall? With Fantion's words, a faint rustling emerged from behind the rocks. Moments later, Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying appeared, stepping forward with grins. Xiao Yin? Zhu Jin's jaw nearly dropped as he saw them. What are you two doing here? Didn't I seal off the 3rd level of the Underground Palace? How did you get through? Heh, I broke that seal, Xiao Yin replied with a grin. You broke it? Zhu Jin raised an eyebrow, a slow smile spreading. Knowing the power of that barrier, Xiao Yan's feat hinted at a significant advance in his mental strength and mastery as a battle array master. This place is dangerous, don't you know that? Despite his frustration, Zhu Jin's words carried a warm concern that Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying didn't miss. All right, enough, Fantion cut in with a slight smile. Since you're here, let's get to it. Allow me, Xiao Yin volunteered. The force sealing this space is rooted in powerful soul power. No wonder even Elder Zhu and the others couldn't break it. He spoke with humble respect, and the other elders of Incense Pavilion nodded in agreement. Soul power, elusive as it was, posed a challenge to those untrained in its mysteries. Well, you rascal, go ahead. Elder Mu Suzi chuckled. All right, Xiaoyan replied, then wasted no time. He took a seated position atop the silver statue, while Mu Yingying, eyes narrowed, watched the void above with intensity. If Yanqi was sealed within this place, he also possessed a sacred flame, but her brother's name wasn't Yanqi. However, as an oddly familiar aura seeped from the void, Mu Yingying's anticipation grew. Could it be her brother? Boom, boom, boom. Vast soul power surged from Xiaoyan, pooling in his hands. He glared at the slightly sunken void. Come out, he demanded, a hint of menace in his tone. Rumble. With his command, Xiaoyan's radiant, formless soul power pierced the darkness, illuminating the space above the statue with a fierce, blinding light. But just as quickly, the void pushed back, holding his power at bay, shrouded in mystery. Soul power. Xiaoyan cried, redoubling his efforts. As he poured more of his strength into the void, it began to buckle, finally shattering with a series of loud cracks, revealing its true form. Now, with the concealed space exposed, a breathtaking scene unfolded. A figure bound by countless tendrils of pitch-black energy loomed into view, ragged and emitting a putrid stench. Yet, an eerie, soul-piercing ghostly aura emanated from around it, sending chills to those nearby. Heavy black chains, inscribed with mysterious runes, pierced through the figure's body, binding it completely. This is, Fentian murmured, unable to contain his shock. Even with the power of a 2-star Do Xian, he was visibly shaken by the terrifying restraints before him. Such dark magic would be daunting for even him to handle. That's Yan Qi, Xiaoyan whispered, dispersing his soul power as he stepped closer to the shadowy figure, his gaze unwavering. Ga, ga, ga. As Xiaoyan stared, a strange disturbance surged within him. What's happening? He muttered, instantly probing within himself, only to be taken aback. It was his sacred flame soul seed, acquired during the points competition, which was now trembling uncontrollably. Xiaoyan remembered clearly that his uncle, the Golden Dragon King, had mentioned this sacred flame soul seed originally belonged to Yin Qi. The seed's agitation wasn't without reason, but rescuing Yin Qi was the priority, so there was no time to dwell on it. Move in, Ling Mingxing ordered, his eyes bloodshot. Yin Qi had once saved his life, and seeing him now tormented ignited a fierce anger within him. Without hesitation, Ling Mingxing launched himself toward Yin Qi. Stop! Fentian's eyes narrowed in realization. Mingxing, come back? This must be some kind of trap. He sensed the ghostly aura enshrouding Yin Qi was dangerously sinister. But Ling Mingxing was already less than 100 meters from Yin Qi in a single breath. He reached the bound figure. Brother Yin, you've suffered enough. We're here to rescue you, he whispered, disregarding Fentian's warning as he summoned his force of life and death, attempting to pierce through the suffocating black void surrounding Yin Qi. Leave, run! The man bound by chains struggled to lift his head, his voice weak and filled with strain. In that instant, a fierce rattling erupted from the surrounding darkness as an ominous chain, imbued with countless vengeful spirits, shot out towards Ling Mingxing. No! Ling Mingxing barely had time to react as the sinister chain came hurtling toward him, ready to pierce his chest. He knew that even if it didn't kill him, the impact would leave him grievously injured. Watch out! Xian Muqing's eyes turned crimson, her speed surging as she raced to intervene, aware that the chain could strike a lethal blow. Enough! Elder Zhu's voice snapped, restraining her. Simultaneously, Fentian raised his hand, conjuring a massive, fire-infused Do Xian hand to intercept Ling Mingxing. The ghostly chain narrowly missed, returning to the shadows as Ling Mingxing was pulled to safety. Master, Ling Mingxing, now back among the group, looked down, guilt-ridden. This isn't your fault, Fentian replied gravely. I simply hadn't expected it. The binding on Yin Qi is a ghost-boring seal. His face darkened as he spoke. Nearby, Mu Yingying trembled, her gaze fixed on the mysterious figure bound in the void. Brother, a ghost-boring seal? Xiao Yin, returning to the group, asked, his curiosity piqued. The others, equally baffled, turned to Fintian for an explanation. The ghost-boring seal is a highly advanced binding technique from the ghost realm, Fintian explained. Its confinement power is exceptionally potent. If I were caught, even I'd struggle to break free. Is there any way to save him? Ling Mengxing's eyes shone with a hint of desperation at the thought. If all options were exhausted, he'd willingly risk his life to rescue Yanqi. Seeing this, Xian Muqing could only sigh, though she didn't try to stop him. She knew that this fierce determination was precisely what she admired about Ling Mengxing. There is a way. Finch's voice broke the tension, but his gaze sharpened as he looked at Xiao Yin. Clearly, among everyone present, only Xiao Yin fit the requirements. But it will require sacred flame and soul power. Master, you can count on me, Xiao Yin responded firmly. Finch chuckled approvingly. Good lad. If we succeed, ask for whatever you wish once we're back. With a mischievous grin, Xiao Yin replied, even the Hall Guardian treasure of the two halls of heaven and earth? Finch didn't hesitate. Of course it's yours. Ambitious kid, chuckled Mu Shuzi. But I like it. The treasures of the two halls were not as powerful as those of the Hall of Man, but they were still rare and priceless. Although Finch's agreement would pain the leaders of the two halls, it was a necessary price to rescue Yanqi. The Vice Master of the Heaven Hall, Elder Qing, and Ling Mengxing of the Earth Hall exchanged uneasy glances. This Xiao Yin had already mastered the heaven-shifting ruler from the Hall of Man, a skill almost no one else could use, and now he was eyeing their own Do skills. This audacity. Let's move quickly, Xiao Yin said, shifting his gaze upward. If the rest of the Xuanling royal family's forces arrive, we'll have trouble. Agreed, Finch nodded. Zhu Jin, watch over them. He glanced at Xiao Yin, surprised by his keen senses. As Xiao Yin and Finch readied themselves, Mu Yingying, who had been silent, spoke up. I'm coming with you. Xiao Yin looked at her, startled. Though he had once asked Yingying if Yanqi was her brother, she had denied it. Still, her presence since they entered the 7th layer of the underground palace kept him wary. Her reaction to Yanqi's plight hinted at a deeper connection. Let's go, Finch said, also sensing the sacred flame power resonating from Mu Yingying. When they reached the void where Yanqi was bound, Finch noted, the space here feels strange. To protect Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying, Finch enveloped them in his Docian power. As core members of the Incense Pavilion, their safety was paramount, and any harm to them would be his responsibility. This space doesn't match the rest of the 7th layer, Xiao Yin observed, his soul power revealing an unusual density of dark energy. Finch nodded. This is the peculiarity of the seal. Step back while I open it. When I give the signal, channel your sacred flame and soul power into it. Without the Dark Knight Ghost Immortal's ghostly aura reinforcing it, the seal should be weakened. Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying exchanged glances, then nodded. As Finch unleashed his full Docian flame, waves of intense fire struck the void in front of them. The flame made contact, and a powerful resistance surged from the void. In moments, pitch-black chains appeared, shimmering with a deadly chill as they tried to repel Finch's attack. Now! Finch shouted, looking at Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying. Their sacred flames, one earthen yellow, the other a brilliant blue, burst forth, pouring into the void, where they tangled with the black chains and the flame. With this combined force, the figure trapped in the void could barely raise his head. In a faint, strained voice, he murmured, Yingying? Only Xiao Yin heard him. With unwavering focus, he added, soul power. Netherworld heavenly wrath, break. In the next instant, the pitch-black chains retreated under the overwhelming pressure of 2 sacred flames and a fierce soul attack. The void around them shattered instantly with a resounding bang. It worked, Fintian remarked with a smile. With the disappearance of the seal, the dark chains binding the man began to disintegrate and vanish. However, A gut-wrenching scream echoed through the void from the man's lips. Brother! Before Fentian could react, Mu Yingying quickly caught the man. Ignoring his disheveled state, she gazed at the horrifying scars on him, her beautiful eyes welling up, tears about to spill. Heh. Yingying, no tears. Your brother's fine. The man forced a faint, strained smile and reassured her. Wah! Brother, where have you been all these years? I searched so hard for you. Mu Yingying's tears began to pour, like a dam breaking. Xiaoyan and the others looked on, stunned. It wasn't the time for questions, so they remained silent. A Dosian? Someone's coming, quick, let's go. Fentian suddenly warned. At his words, Zhu Jin's body flashed with a hint of silver light, a long-distance teleportation array. Within seconds, they all vanished from the 7th floor of the underground palace. As they left with Yin Qi, a faint bloodstain behind him dimmed, unnoticed by the others. That bloodstain held a force akin to the blood demon Golden Qi in Xiaoyan, yet even more potent. Gulp. Zhu Jin activated the spatial array, and the group found themselves back in the incense pavilion, their mission now successfully concluded. Oddly, the Xuanling royal family had made no effort to intercept them. As the top battle array master of the mystic three heavens, Zhu Jin had transported everyone back in just a few breaths. Incense pavilion, top-level conference room. The group arrived, a sense of home settling over them. Yet, none had thoughts of leaving, and the atmosphere in the room felt off. Xiaoyan stood beside Mu Yingying, who was tearfully holding Yin Qi, witnessing her sorrow. Xiaoyan felt a pang in his heart. The others, initially shocked, were now beginning to understand. Let's give them a moment, Fentian said, placing a hand on Xiaoyan's shoulder. Understanding, everyone quietly left the room, leaving only Mu Yingying and Yin Qi. Brother! Mu Yingying remained tearful, her face contorted with emotion. Yingying, no tears. Did someone bully you? Tell me, and I'll go teach them a lesson. Though weakened, Yin Qi managed a comforting smile, boosted by the bit of Dosian power Fentian had infused into him. No one did, she whispered, finally feeling safe in his presence. Her eyes unconsciously flickered toward the door where Xiaoyan had left, her thoughts mixed. The brother and sister, long separated, shared a moment of warmth and reunion. Pavilion Master, I hesitate to bring this up, Xiaoyan began, walking beside Fentian. You've earned this right by saving Yin Qi. Whatever's on your mind. Speak freely, Fentian responded with a hearty laugh. Yin Qi's aura seems off somehow. I hope you'll take a closer look, Xiaoyan urged, recalling the unusual response from the sacred flame soul seed. Understood, Fentian nodded thoughtfully. If there's nothing more, I'll take my leave, Xiaoyan said. As for the items from the heaven and earth halls, those don't fall under my authority. Feel free to negotiate with those old-timers in the heaven and earth halls. Fentian chuckled mysteriously before vanishing. Damn it, Xiaoyan muttered under his breath, realizing Fentian had slyly avoided responsibility. Guess I'd better go consolidate my strength. I feel like I'm nearing a breakthrough to 7-star Do D. With that, he disappeared. Meanwhile, back in the 7th level of the underground palace, I hope Yin Qi lives up to our expectations, murmured the hidden Xuanling King after Fentian's group left. His gaze focused on EngSubs, unaware of the powerful forces converging on them from the shadows. Gulp. Finally, they're gone. These injuries are severe. I'll need to retreat for proper recovery. I wonder who leaked the information. The Dark Knight Ghost Immortal has escaped, and Yin Qi was also rescued by the Incense Pavilion. Lying on the ground with his breath faint, Xuan Xin managed to whisper. Inwardly, however, he was bitterly frustrated. He had made thorough preparations for this, even going to great lengths to bring the Dark Knight Ghost Immortal directly from the Ghost Realm by hidden means. Yet it still ended in failure. Cough, cough. After a fit of harsh coughing, Xuan Xin struggled to rise. Father, what happened to you? Emerging from the shadows, the Xuanling King swiftly approached, his eyes full of concern as he helped support Xuan Xin. You're just in time. The feud between the Incense Pavilion and us has become irreparable. In the upcoming sect tournament, spare no effort. Kill the disciples of the incense pavilion to avenge today's disgrace. Xuan Xin pressed down the pain surging within him and commanded through gritted teeth. Understood. But what about Yin Qi? How did he disappear as well? Xuanling King glanced around the wrecked 7th level of the underground palace, bewildered at the devastation. Yin Qi was rescued by that old fellow from the incense pavilion, who somehow got wind of it and brought several powerful allies along, Xuan Xin replied, his voice weak. And your injuries, father? The Xuanling King asked softly. My injuries are manageable. I only need rest. Xuan Xin glanced at his son and continued. And those ancient statues? Xuanling King brought up again, his tone tense. If not for this secret, he would have acted long ago. The secret behind them has defied my research for years. The promise I made to you. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep it, Xuan Xin muttered, not noticing the murderous glint in the Xuanling King's eyes. In that case, you're no longer needed. My dear father, it's time for you to die. The Xuanling King's expression turned savage, his entire body radiating a bloodthirsty aura. A surge of sinister energy appeared in his palm, lethal enough to kill the weakened Xuan Xin. Evil clan of the extraterritory? You ungrateful son. You've actually allied with the extraterritorial evil clan. Treacherous. Xuan Xin roared, though his internal injuries flared up from the earlier battle, leaving him defenseless. What good is all this talking? If you had given me full control over the Xuanling royal family when you abdicated, none of this would be happening now. Don't worry once you're gone. I'll take good care of the Xuanling royal family. With that, the Xuanling King unleashed his vile energy in full force, engulfing Xuan Xin completely. Though Xuan Xin had long suspected his son's ambitions, he hadn't foreseen he would conspire with the extraterritorial evil clan. In a brief but devastating struggle, Xuan Xin fell to his son, now strengthened by the evil forces. Gurgling sounds filled the air as the Xuanling King absorbed his father's entire essence, his own power skyrocketing to the peak Do-D level within moments. This Xuanling King, he's truly gone mad. To consume others' power so directly, such a technique is exceedingly rare, even among Blood Demon envoys. A trace of the Blood Demon envoy's original essence, hiding within the Xuanling King, detached and muttered aloud. Ha ha ha. From now on, I, the Xuanling King, have finally ascended as a true Do Xian. The 7th level of the underground palace turned blood red as a sinister aura flooded the space, and the Xuanling King roared in triumph. Xuanling King, the Medusa clan has come to settle our scores, a calm but powerful female voice declared as a dazzling glow of 10 colors burst from afar. A graceful figure approached, exuding an overwhelming aura. Queen Medusa? The Xuanling King's smile froze, his gaze turning grim as he locked onto the radiant figure before him. The figure radiated 10 distinct hues, with the green light being particularly intense, carrying a terrifyingly potent poison. To the Xuanling King's shock, this was indeed the very individual who had received the Medusa clan's ancient legacy. The Medusa clan's highest bloodline, known as the 10-colored heaven-swallowing python, could rival even peak Do Xian if all 10 colors were mastered. And now, this Queen Medusa had clearly achieved mastery over the one-colored heaven-devouring force, reaching the level of perfect one-star Do Xian. Though the sacred flame no longer rests in the Xuanling King's possession, he remains unperturbed. After all, he's confident that the mark he placed on Yin Qi ensures the sacred flame's inevitable return. Humph! Despicable ant. You're so ruthless you'd even turn on your own father. The term beast suits you well. Kai Lin's beautiful eyes swept over him with disdain, her voice dripping with contempt, clearly repulsed by the Xuanling King's behavior. Winners make history. All else is just talk, the Xuanling King retorted, his gaze fierce as he locked eyes with Kai Lin. Think what you will. Last time, you barely escaped because I was handling other matters. Today, you're not so lucky. Kai Lin's eyes gleamed with intense killing intent as she fixated on him. Had she not been distracted by saving Xiao Yin during their last encounter, Kai Lin's nature would have led her to carve the Xuanling King to pieces right there and then. Queen Medusa, don't push things too far, he barked. Drive the Xuanling royal family to ruin, and the only ones who benefit will be our enemies. Though the Xuanling King had absorbed Xuan Xin's strength, boosting himself to an early 1-star Xian, he couldn't help feeling dwarfed in the presence of Queen Medusa. Just her inherited ancestral power from Medusa's divine hall alone posed an existential threat to the Xuanling royal family. And with 2 Xian experts sacrificed to eliminate his rivals, the royal family was now critically weakened. Except for the Xuanling King's own 1-star Xian rank, their strongest defender was Qin Tian, merely at the peak D level. Queen Medusa's arrival at this moment was nothing short of seizing on their misfortune. All-out war. Kai Lin sneered. When you attacked the Medusa tribe, were you concerned about that? My serpent guard and many warriors fell to the Xuanling royal family. That hatred isn't easily washed away. And our feud goes back far beyond recent days. Her tone grew icy. You of all people should know how many Medusa kin have died by your hand. This time, I'm just here to collect some interest. Though she sensed the Xuanling King's newly advanced Xian aura, Kai Lin's voice was steady, brimming with a calm yet overwhelming killing intent. This wretched woman. The Xuanling King felt rage boil within him. Blood demon envoy, he called out to the dark force nestled within him. Can we combine our powers to kill her? No, replied the core force of the blood demon envoy, shaking its head with a heavy tone. She wields immense power from the heaven-swallowing python's bloodline. Even with my main body present, victory wouldn't be assured. However, she could aid you in breaking the ancestral statue's seal, the sinister voice continued, laying out a plan. Possible. The Xuanling King's mind flickered with a cunning thought as he focused on Kai Lin. Prepare to die, Xuanling King. This desolate wasteland of mystic 3 heavens never suited the Medusa clan. Once the Xuanling royal family is erased, Kai Lin's exquisite hand rose, gathering a blinding green energy amid her tin-colored aura. With a light movement, she unleashed it toward the Xuanling King. Whoosh! The terrifying force exploded from her hand, tearing through the space toward him. Boom! With just a simple touch from her, the green beam ripped apart the void, leaving destruction in its wake. So powerful. Feeling the force of her attack, the Xuanling King let out a cold snort, summoning the force of life and death within him in a desperate burst. Despite his 1-star Xian status, he had yet to fully merge with this power, unable to truly wield his Xian might. Clatter! But no matter his strength or defense, Kai Lin's strike tore straight through, landing a direct hit on the Xuanling King and erupting with violent force. Stop it! Xuanling King bellowed, and immediately unleashed the black and white force of life and death toward the wound. He knew that if he didn't stop the bleeding soon, the poison would likely consume his entire arm. With a series of thunderous blasts, the poison ceased spreading as the Xuanling King halted its advance, though waves of numbness pulsed through his arm. It was clear the arm would be unusable, at least for now. Those damned Medusa clan. This whole scheme was the work of that old bastard Nu Dong, he cursed bitterly. Nu Dong has already fallen. Now, it's your turn, Kai Lin replied, toying with a flickering green light in her hand. A light that seemed to emanate from the very depths of hell, carrying the menace of the Reaper himself. The sound of flickering light echoed. To think the renowned tin-colored heaven-swallowing python could wield such terrifying power.